Namaste children, I am Shobha, Science faculty from Mangala Vidya Mandira. Today, let us start part 3 of crop production and management. Before going to the new topics, let us have a small recall on whatever the topics we have completed in last video. Among them, the four important steps we have learnt are preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizers, and irrigation. Under irrigation, we have studied the traditional method of irrigation, and today let us move on to the modern methods of irrigation. Modern methods of irrigation help us to use the water economically. There are two important methods which are being followed under this method. First one is sprinkler system, the second one is drip irrigation. So let us see the first is sprinkler irrigation. This system is more useful on uneven land where sufficient water is not available. The perpendicular pipes having the rotating nozzles on the top are joined to the main pipeline at the regular intervals. When the water has been allowed to flow through the main pump under the high pressure of the pump, it escapes from the rotating nozzles and gets sprinkled on the crops as if it is raining. It is mostly used in lawns, coffee plantations, and several other crop plantation. Bestly, you can see this type of system in the park. The second one is drip irrigation. In this system, the water falls drop by drop directly into the roots so that there is no waste of water at all, and this is called as drip irrigation, and it is being used in the regions where the water availability is very less. This is best technique for all fruiting plants, garden, and also some of the trees. So these two methods are being practiced in the modern days for irrigating the cropland. Now let us move to the next step, that is protection of weeds. First of all, let us come to know what do you mean by weeds. Weeds are nothing but any undesirable plants that are naturally growing along with the crop. They are called as weeds, and the process of removing these weeds from the crop is called as weeding. This weeding can be done by two methods. One is physical method and the second one is chemical method. The manual removal is called as physical method. This manual removal includes cutting the weeds by uprooting them from the ground time to time. This is done by the help of a device called kurpi. As you can see in the extreme corner of the page, a farmer is been uprooting the weeds with an axle or that kurpi, that device. The second method, as we said, it is by using chemicals. So this chemicals used for this removing weeds are called as weedicides. For example, 2,4-D, and this 2,4-D is an abbreviation for one chemical compound called 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. This weedicides are sprayed in the fields to kill weeds. They do not damage the crops. These weedicides are diluted with water and they are being sprayed in the field with the help of sprayer. But spraying this weedicide may affect the health of farmers, so thereby they should use the small piece of cloth to cover their nose or mouth during the spraying of these chemicals. Usually, this weeding process should be done before the flowering and seeding season begins. So, this is the best season where this weeding process can be done, or else they may damage the growth of the crops. So once we protect the crops from the weeds, it will be completely grown as an healthy crop. So next one is we have to harvest those healthy crops. So that process is called as harvesting. Harvesting is nothing but cutting off the crops after it getting matured. This can be done by two devices. One is called as sickle, other one is called as harvester. Harvester is a machine, as you can see in the picture, and sickle is an handmade device used by the farmers to harvest the crops. So it will take 3 to 4 months for a cereal crop to mature. After that, the harvesting is been done by uprooting the seeds. The next step in harvesting only, it is called as threshing. Threshing, it is a process of separating the chaff from the seeds. Chaff means with what we'll call it as hottu in Kannada. So we have to remove the chaff from the grain. So we have to use some machines like combine. As you can see students, this is combine. And in small land, if the agricultural land is very small, at that time we can remove this chaff from the grain by an process called winnowing. This method you could have already studied in your lower classes in detail. Now, after this harvest, usually the farmers will celebrate this as a festival because they have put hard work for 3 to 4 months. After that, they are going to get the fruit of that harvest, which will be celebrated in different way in different places in India. So let us see what are the different festivals which are being celebrated in India. First of all, it will be a grand festival celebrated by farmers. It is called as Pongal in Tamil Nadu, where they celebrate it in a huge manner. Next, it is called Bihu, which is being celebrated in Assam, and Onam, it is celebrated in Kerala. It is also an harvest festival. Then it is called Baisakhi, where it is celebrated by Sikh community people. It is also an harvest festival. And Lohari, where it is an harvest festival celebrated by Punjab people. Other than this, throughout India we celebrate this harvest festivals with different name. Like in Karnataka, we celebrate this harvest festival as Makara Shankranti, where we show our gratitude to the Lord sun. And also sometime they will celebrate this harvest festival in the form of Holi also, with the colorful thing. This is an extra information for you people. The next one we are going to see is storage. So after harvesting the entire grains and all the seeds from the agricultural land, first thing we have to do is storage. Storage of produce is an important task. If the harvested grains are to be kept for a longer time, then they should be safe from moisture, insects, rats, and many microorganisms. So harvested grains have more moisture. Generally harvested grains have more moisture. So if freshly harvested grains are stored without drying, they may get spoiled because of microorganisms may grow on that. Hence, before storing them, the grain should be properly dried in the sun to reduce the moisture in them. As you can see in the picture, the grains will be dried in the sun so that it will prevent the growth of any bacteria or fungi. After that, the farmers will store the dried grains in the jute or gunny bags for a longer time, or sometimes they may also use an large metallic bins which is being called as silos and granaries, as you can see it in the picture. Nowadays we will use this neem leaves for storing the food grains at home also. Not nowadays, when in ancient time only we are using this process, where the neem leaves act as an antibacterial, antifungal property is there, so it will not allow any bacteria and fungus or any worms to grow in the stored grains. So this is all 7 steps students. We have been just went through what the farmer will practice for crop production and how he is going to manage. So finally we'll have a small account on animal husbandry. So when we think, do we get the food only from the plant source? If that is a question, then it is not. Some of the food also comes from animals, as you can see it in the picture, like milk, meat, eggs. All these are the animal products which serves as the food for many of us. But in order to take care of this animals which give this product, that science is called as animal husbandry. So animals are being reared at home or at farms to provide food for us in a large scale. That is called as animal husbandry. As we have practiced many steps, starting from preparation of soil till storage for crop production, similarly from the animals, if you want to get the products, we have to give them proper food, proper care and proper shelter for all the animals, so that we can get more healed from those animals. So animals which gives us all this are like a fish, camel, chicken, cow, buffalo, all this. So it is a different branch of science which you will later study in your higher classes. So after this I have given some instructions for the classwork, how what book to be used and what pen, and please follow this instruction. After this, here I have given you the exercise questions which you have to copy down in your classwork, and no need to submit the classwork in the WhatsApp. Only the activities and assignments should be submitted in the classwork. Thank you, children.